Hi, everybody. Welcome to our talk with Hila Fish, Senior DevOps Engineer at Wix. And today we will talk about incident management best practices and a couple other things as well. And welcome, Hila. We're really excited to have you as a speaker today. Could you please, in a couple words for those who didn't catch your impressive bio before registration, can you please in a couple words describe and tell us about yourself, your interests, your background, like in a couple of phrases? Thank you very much.
Sure. So hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining this session. I'm Hila Fish. I'm a Senior DevOps Engineer, as Kate said. I have 15 years of experience in the tech industry. Recently, I have joined the AWS Community Builders program that allows me to both learn new things about AWS services and also connect with like-minded people from all over the world. I also help co-organize conferences in Israel, where I live, DevOps Days Tel Aviv, and StatsCraft, which is a monitoring conference. What else can I mention? I'm a lead singer in a cover band. This is what I like to do in my free time. And basically, communities are a very, very big part of my life. I co-manage a community in Facebook with physical meetups for open source. And also there is a very, very large community in Israel for technical women in tech, more than 6,000 people, women, sorry. And I lead programs there to help women be outspoken and put themselves out there on stage, help them with crafting their talks, and also in charge of bringing them all together for social gatherings. So I really believe that communities is what drives our day-to-day and helps bring everyone together. So that's why I'm so active in the community in Israel. And yeah, I think that's basically it.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Actually, I was really excited to have you here today as a speaker because, as I mentioned before our talk, you are the first woman in our series of interviews, and it is exciting to add some women to the scene because we understand that DevOps is really, really kind of deeply technical area, and we need to spread the awareness that women also can be not also specialists in this area, but also we can be recognizable speakers as you. And it is a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you. I couldn't agree more. Women could totally do what I do and other technical things because we are capable and we can do things that we want to do. So yeah, I really hope that me being here will convince women to really go and chase the technical career that they want if they want it.
Yeah, great. And back to our main topic of our today's talk, it's incident management best practices. And I know that you have the whole presentation about this topic, and we will try to touch from different sides. Sometimes we will also touching the exact slides from your presentation, but could you please maybe briefly describe the part from this talk about proactive preparation, which leads to smoother and faster resolving these incidents?
Yeah, so can we show that slide because it's very
yeah, sure. Here it is.
Cool. So I have two. Let's cover it like this, so it will be
one. Nice.
So there are two really main things that we can touch about on the proactive approach, both after the fact, after an incident took place, and on your day-to-day, what you can do on your regular day-to-day in order to come prepared for incidents. So in regards to after the fact, there is something called on-call shift handoff. So whenever I'm doing on-call, I can and should write a on-call shift handoff because I'm doing an on-call. Let's say some companies, the person doing it for the entire week. Sometimes they divide it per day, every company and what they do. So every time I finish in an on-call shift, I should write a summary of what happened in my shift because it's good for both auditing purposes, but also for my team member success. Because if I encountered XYZ and maybe one of the incidents were even recurring, I need to mention that. So if they encountered it, they wouldn't think it's a new issue, but something that is recurring, and maybe someone is already on it and trying to fix that, right? So the summaries are very, very important to understand what's going on currently in production, and will help you while you take on your shift. Because if something is recurring, if something is already known by other people, then you know what to do on your shift as well. Next thing is to have post-mortem notes written down as soon as possible, because as we all know, only when we are very close to something, then it's still fresh in our mind, as opposed to if we will do the post-mortem a week after, then it will be blurry and not really, we wouldn't remember as much details as we can. And even if you don't need a post-mortem meeting, because usually post-mortem is if something very, very big happens. So maybe there was a small issue, still do a post-mortem even with yourself, like a mental check and a retrospective with yourself, to see what you could have done better in order to fix this issue, or maybe it sprung up something else to think about for other issues as well. New tasks. So if you want to prevent the next incident and stabilize the environment, then you can maybe think about new tasks that came across when you thought about something, right? When an incident took place, and maybe it gave you an idea to fix something. And also modifying alerts. A lot of the times we have false positive alerts, and you need to fix them. And please don't wait for the next on-call to do it, because maybe they will wait for the next on-call, and they will wait for the next on-call, and then it will never happen. So please modify the alerts. And incident runbooks, I don't know if everyone is doing that, so I will touch on it, what it is about. So if there are incidents that you can't really automate their remediation, because they need any judgment call, so you can write runbooks that will help me understand what to do in these types of incidents. So then if something happened, I know exactly what to check, what to think about, what to consider, and then I can progress towards resolution much more faster, because I know exactly what to do, and I don't need to chase people down to understand what needs to be done. And automation, if you do recognize stuff that could be candidates for self-remediation, so please do it, and then you wouldn't be paged for the on-call. And if the issue is handled, please share the knowledge. I mean, if you don't have maybe you don't do the summaries handoffs like I mentioned, but I think that you really should still share the knowledge, because and actually more in depth than the on-call handoff, because people need to learn from your line of thought and how you handle things, because maybe they will learn from that, and they will be able to incorporate it in their line of thinking as well. So these were the things for after the fact, after an incident took place. Let's see what we can do on our day-to-day in order to come prepared for an incident. So I mentioned the on-call shifts handoffs, right? So I believe that you should read not only the summary of the person that was before you, but also all summaries from all people, because it should be only a summary, not a book, right? It's only a summary. And B, because we need to understand that production happens all the time, not only when we are on call. So we always need to understand what's going on there and be on top of things. And the way to do it is by reading the on-call shift handoffs from everyone in the team, and not only the one that was in the shift before us. Escalation point of contacts. So let's say you support several services at work, right? You know the needed pieces of information related to your realm. For example, my realm is infra. But the thing is that you should know other realms as well to have the full picture. So let's say there's an issue with X. I've checked my side of things. I don't see any problem. But I know that John is the one that is handling X from the code of the side of code, right? Like the application side. So I should escalate to him to check things on his end. And identifying services escalation points on a day-to-day basis, and not only ad hoc when the incident occurs, will save time and of course also money on incident management, and save someone's hours of sleep, because maybe I need to wake my team leader up and ask who's responsible for X, right? So if you identify upfront the point of contacts, then you already know what to do when an incident happens. Understanding system architecture, so you need to think about weaker areas of the system or any vulnerabilities, And of course, if there is something that could lead to sensitive or blast radius scopes, because if you know how the application works, then you know how to handle things and what to check next in your troubleshooting, because understanding the scopes, the flow means understanding all the chain of events that happen when the application needs to do its job. So these flows are very, very important to really come prepared and know how to troubleshoot things upfront and not just figuring out during the incident. Application flows is basically very similar to that, but it's not only that. It's the matter of how the applications interact with other systems as well, because you have your own system architecture, the application or the infrastructure that you manage, but also application flows with other systems. So if something is breaking, maybe it's not in your application, maybe it's in another application, but people will come to you to fix it because the issue is visible on your side. But it's not really on your side because it got break in between your side and the other third party, let's say. So if you know application flows both from inner architecture side and also between your systems and other systems, then you will have the full picture with everything that you need. Team members' tasks. So as I said, production changes, even if I didn't do things my own, but if my team members did it. So you should always get involved and be aware of latest changes that could rock the boat and learn how the tasks affect production. And speaking of changes in production, so not only regular tasks, but also deployments and changes in prod also affect that, because you need to understand any effect that the changes have. And really think about it this way: Ops Genie or PagerDuty doesn't care if you didn't do the changes yourself, right? It will call you anyway if you're on call. So you should probably be aware of any changes and how they affect the systems that you are responsible for. And last but not least, be a go-to person. Like they say, if you build it, they will come. So if you are a go-to person, then people will come to you for consultations, and they will tell you and share with you information that you need about the systems. And then basically you will get like push notifications, and it will decrease your need to fetch the updates on your own. So that's basically the whole, as we say in Hebrew, Torah. So the whole concept of my proactive approach towards incidental management.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. Actually, I didn't think that it like this big explanation about a proactive approach, but actually I rewatch your talk, and I thought that, okay, maybe you can describe it briefly, but actually it's even better that it's not like briefly explanation, but really in detail structured information about like the whole approach, like in a whole, because actually I think not like people constantly not thinking about like how to structure this work, and they ending up like with a lot of alerts, a lot of unsolved incidents, or like continue repeating incidents. So yeah, I think that implementing what you just showed us, it would be like really great for each team who solve an incident.
The thing, and the reason why I chose to go in depth here is because know how people work. And when I will just show them, you need to learn, or you need to read on-call shift handoffs. Okay, why? You need to always explain the why to people so they will understand that it's in their best interest to do that.
Yeah, understood. Thank you very much. And we have a comment that we have like some technical difficulties, but at the same time, I checked the sound and everything seems okay on YouTube. So please, Daniel, if you're still with us, please update your link on the YouTube or just reset something, and it would be maybe better, because and actually if somebody else also like experience this happening difficulties, please let us know in the comments, so we'll like maybe do something. But I checked and everything seems great to me on YouTube, so yeah, I'm just gonna recommend to update the link. So going forward, for
that is works on my machine.
Yeah. Nice. It is actually, I think, yeah, like as normal developer answering like QA specialist. Yeah, everything's working on machine, but we can like handle your machine to a client. Yeah, the same situation here. So my next question, you so detailed described the approach. So I actually think that you answered like a lot of questions I had, but we will try to like stick to it. Could you please describe how incident management works in your team, exactly in the data engineering team at Wix?
Yeah, so we are a team of 4 or 5 people. I don't remember at the moment. Sorry, guys. And
Okay.
basically, we have on-call each week. So each of us doing an on-call each. We use ops tuning, and then two things happen. Both if something alerts come exactly directly to ops tuning, or if someone in the data engineering group needs our help because something happened and they got alerted by that because it started out as a application issue, but then they figured it's something that could result in infra issue as well. Then they ping us on Slack with on-call DevOps tag, and then Ops is configured to catch these tags and alert me through Opsgenie. So that's good because if someone is tagging me in the middle of the night at Slack, I don't get it because I have snooze at the middle of the night, but I still get it through Opsgenie, which is good. And then once stage, of course, we check the issue, check not always the severities are good. We are always constantly improving it. And if it's urgent, we will fix it. We will communicate with whoever we need in order to fix that. And if it's in the middle of the night and it could wait for the next day, of course, we'll make sure that it is the case, and then we will fix it the next day. Then everything that I mentioned, if I saw that there are tasks that can be derived from that, I will open tasks. Also, I personally was involved in an incident not a while ago that the issue was on another teams, but I was affected. So I also participated in the postmortem, and then I suggested like 4 or 5 things to improve the process that I saw inside. So that's also something that we do if there is an issue, whether an incident that whether the root cause was on our side or not, but we had a part in it, we will participate in the postmortem and bring our inputs to make the process better.
Yeah, understood. And actually, I was curious about maybe best practices regarding on-call management, because I see that people in different teams and different companies hate on-call, really. And sometimes I see like people burning out from this process. And maybe you actually mentioned a bit about how it can be handled, but maybe you can recommend something to these people, how to how to create a process which will like care about people on the team as well, because on call in the middle of the night or like during the weekends, it can be really stressful, especially if it's like some issues which can like wait until morning, and maybe it's like tight resources or like small teams. Maybe you have some recommendations from your experience how to handle it.
So first of all, and this is like the biggest thing, is that there is I actually only today delivered the talk about values in tech, and then I'm talking about the fact that there is something called culture fit on between your values, your company's values, and one of them are well-being. So if the culture of the company is one that they see that production on call is noisy and they don't allocate resources to fix that, and they just end up putting out files kind of a state of mind, then maybe try or think about moving elsewhere, because it's hard to change companies' culture, very, very hard. It could take even. So you need to, first of all, identify this. If you bring up new ideas how to make the process better, and you get answers of, yeah, we will we will take care of it someday. Or we need to take care of it. We will assign the resources. We will give it priority because we want our people not to suffer from on-call. So culture is the first thing because of priorities that you get. This is one. Other than that, when you do have incidents, then there is a structured process that I follow. Whenever I have an incident, for me, it is already built in because I'm doing it for years. But it is like a structured process with pillars, and each pillar, there are questions that you should ask yourself in order to see whether you can progress to the next step or not. It is also in the slides if you want me to show that.
Yeah, just a sec. Yeah. Here's slide.
Okay. Cool. So this is the structure. And basically there are 5 pillars: identify and categorize, notify and escalate, investigate and diagnosis, resolve and recovery. And also when the incident got closed, it's not that, okay, I'm finished. No, there are steps to be taken as well. So let's cover on each one pretty quick. So on the identify and categorize step, we need to see if we understand the full extent of the problem. If so, awesome, we can just dive right in and notify any people that is relevant to notify. And if not, we need to gather more information to understand the full extent of the problem. We need to also understand if this issue can wait and be handled on business hours. If we're not sure, we better ask and use this information to escalate if needed, and also change the severity or the runbook accordingly. Because if we figured out that the incident has the wrong severity, don't just leave it as is, right? Fix it so the next person wouldn't suffer from that. And also, I need to understand, was I notified about this incident from the proper or expected channels? Like I got escalation from PagerDuty or OpsGenie or any other application, and not by or through a user complaint. So if I got it from the proper or expected channels, that's awesome. If not, we need to add a note to self to fix that. Either add an alert that will help us get the notification from the proper systems and not from users, because we never want to get to be notified about issues from users. It's like a big no-no. It's not a good experience for users, and also not for us, because usually when a user experiences it will be very too late, and we will have a very small window to fix the issue. The next pillar is notify and escalate. So we need to understand who should be notified about this incident, but in 2 aspects, both during the incident and in general. So during the incident, it's by incident importance. So maybe if the incident is very, very important and very severe, then of course we will need to notify support or customer success, because they need to communicate the issue to the customers if it's really that severe. And in general, maybe there are other teams or key focal points that care about these systems because they use it, or mostly because they use it. So then we need to keep them posted about the system's health and status. The next pillar is investigation and diagnosis. We need to understand what information is relevant towards incident resolution and focus on what's important and relevant, because focusing on the non-relevant information will throw you off a route and make you lose valuable time. And I can also share a small story about that. In one of my previous jobs, I was new at the company, only a month, and then something big happened. And then a scenario of war room got created, and I will speak about it in a bit. And then I was just there as a silent listener because, hey, I'm just a month there, right? What do I know? Nothing, only a month. So I just listened, and then I saw them. He talks about this, and he talks about that, and he wants to go to this direction, and he wants to go to this direction. And then they talked for like 15 or 20 minutes, and nothing happened. Nothing progressed towards resolution. And then I felt like I had to step up and say, okay, people, let's take it down a notch and understand what is currently relevant for this incident, okay? And then I basically started to be the incident manager, and I told them, okay, you said that the application needs to be started in a certain order in order to work properly, right? There is no runbook for that, right? Okay, write a runbook right now to make sure that we start the application in the correct order. Then I told the other people what to do, and then once there was order in this chaos, then stuff started to really progress towards resolution, and then to actually we got the resolution. So we understand that a lot of people think about a lot of things, but we always need to focus on what's relevant in order to fix the issue as soon as possible. And another thing is that in the terms of investigation, did I find the root cause while I troubleshoot? And do I understand the root cause? If so, again, awesome. But if not, I need to investigate more and even also escalate if it takes long, because maybe I care about the company, right? And I want to make sure that downtime is minimized as much as possible. And if I troubleshoot something that I know that my team member usually deals with it in his day-to-day, then maybe I should escalate like only after a couple of minutes of troubleshooting, because they know about it more, because they deal with it more on day-to-day basis, and they can help me get to the root cause faster. So everyone, not everyone. Some people have like the need to be a hero, right? And I want to fix the issue. I want to save the day and get the credit. I say you will get the credit if you will escalate the issue and be the one that helped resolve it faster, because you escalated it in the right time. Okay, so don't worry, you'll have your time to shine on other aspects. But if you don't know how to fix something and you see that you even have no leads for troubleshooting, so consider to escalate in order to get to the faster resolution as much as possible. And also we should prioritize root causes over surface level symptoms. If you find yourself restarting the same server or service over and over again, so stop doing that and check what's the issue, why it gets restarted all the time. The fourth pillar is resolve and recovery. So we need to understand which possible remediation steps is the best one to take, because in my opinion, we should take the fastest solution to eliminate downtime, but without compromising systems health and stability, which is good, because we want it to be fast so we can get back to sleep or back to our day-to-day, but systems health is more important at the moment, so we need to make sure we are not compromising that. We also need to understand if there are any action items needed after resolving the issue, because let's say we saw the issue requires a very big, or not a very big, but a big, somewhat big change in the code. So the developers decided to do a patch. That's okay. And if everyone is notified about that and everyone is agreeing, then that's cool. But we also need to permanently fix the issue because we want to prevent recurring issue from happening, and it is a priority. So if you did a patch, that's okay, but please create a task to fix the issue permanently, because then both the system will suffer and also you, because it will be recurring, and maybe a patch will result in other things that will happen. So don't get into that. And the last pillar is closure. So once the incident is done, maybe I need to notify anyone on the incident resolution, because if I notified support to communicate to the user that there is an issue, now I need to tell support that now they need to say to the user that the issue should be resolved by now, and please let us know if you have any other issues. Okay, so you have to be end-to-end communicator and to make sure that everything is communicated properly. Also, as I mentioned before, check the alerts if they are okay or they need tweaking. If they need tweaking, please do it, and don't leave it for the next on-call. You wouldn't, it's very important. If the relevant incident runbook that you used is outdated or needs to be updated, or even if there is an existing runbook, and if not, create one yourself. Can I help prevent similar incidents from happening again? If so, then create the necessary tasks to do that. And does this incident require a postmortem? If so, then again, jot down the notes as soon as possible, because it's still fresh in our mind. But if not, still share the knowledge. People can really benefit from your line of thought. Write a runbook, write a daily brief about what happened, and it really be beneficial for everyone. And that's it. That's basically how I manage incidents and progress towards the resolution, because I know in each step what needs to be done, as I showed here, and then progress towards resolution.
Yeah, actually, it is great. And I think that with each slide, like less and less questions from my side still could be like asked. And in this, like regards to this, please, dear attendees, ask your questions in the comment section on YouTube, because I'm running out of questions. Not yet, but maybe soon I will like really without any questions to Hila, because it's really a lot of useful information. And I think this video should be like, I don't know, rewatched thousands times, and we will transcribe it and share it to our audience as well, because it's really a lot of useful information, really gold value to it. So,
I'm in the tech industry for 50 years.
I can imagine.
I've like production incidents for, I don't know, 12 or 10 years out of them. So unfortunately, these all practical tips were written from blood, sweat, and tears. So if I can help, don't suffer like me and just do that, then it will be awesome.
Yeah, and it is really value, because in 1 hour you like deliver so much experience you have through all these years. So yeah, I think that everybody who like listening and watching to this video need to like really be really attentive to each detail. Okay, so I have like really abstract question. Like next question is really abstract. What is the most important thing in incident management, in your opinion?
So I believe the most important thing is communication, because first you need to communicate things to support teams, to communicate to users, because what is incident management? To fix issues in production. What is production? Users. So the users are the most important thing. And if you don't communicate to them, you're missing the point. So communication is very important, both to support, also to your team leader, because your team leader needs to know that everything is being handled. And basically, also if you did escalation, okay, you need to communicate with the next person. You need to deliver the information they need in order to know what you already checked, what you already covered, and so they wouldn't waste time. So communication is very, very important in this aspect. This is one thing. Another thing is what I said before, that people sometimes maybe will try to be the hero and say that I will fix it. Okay, but you're half an hour on that and you have no leads. So please let me help. Allow people to help you, because you're like lighthouse in front of you. Should be not you shining in this specific way. You will shine by escalating, because you work for a company, right? And since you work for a company, you need to think about the company's needs. And the company's needs is to fix the issue as soon as possible in order to avoid any more downtimes and loss of money. So if you don't have any leads, don't try to be the hero, just escalate and it will be awesome. And let me think if there's something else. And again, as I said before, sometimes we need to do patches. This is okay, but don't neglect the permanent fix. It's very, very important. We can really suffer from doing patches and then leaving it as is, and then other things could arise from that. So patches are okay, as as they are called like this way, because it's a patch. It's only temporary. So we need to fix that in a permanent solution as well.
Yeah, nice. Actually, I think it's like the summary of like all these great things you mentioned before. It's like in the 3 points. It is really also very valuable to our listeners, our attendees. And like next questions, kind of similar but a bit different. What are the best practices you can recommend to adopt to make incident management more efficient in the companies and teams?
So basically, making it a structured process, as I showed, will be the most beneficial thing, because you know exactly what needs to be done in each step. Because sometimes who are the on calls? Maybe it will be a senior that ran incidents a lot of the times, and sometimes it will be people that are not really familiar or really experienced with managing incidents. So if you gave them structured process, then they know exactly what to do. They don't go they wouldn't be lost because they have a clear path of what to do. So really, a structured process is the way to go. And also implementing the proactive approach will be good because it will help you come prepared to incidents instead of wasting time of checking who's the POC for that and what is the application flow for that and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, great. And could we go to like in more detail about root cause analysis? Maybe what you can recommend, how to investigate the incidents, how to do this work of evaluate like impact of some issue and investigate what's the cause of this problem.
So as it really depends how deep did you go in your day-to-day to understand a system's flow. So if you know how system work, then maybe you have also a diagram. You can open the diagram and see, oh my God, this affects XYZ, which leads to the XYZ, which leads to a lot of users gets affected. So once we know what is the system flow, we can understand what is the exact impact of that incident. And if we don't know it, or we don't have, we didn't investigate the flows throughout our day-to-day, we should escalate to people that knows these systems, and they can know exactly and tell us what is the impact. So that's about that. In regards to investigating, it really, there's always the pillars of observability. So you should have observability with graphs to understand the impact, if it's request-wise or traffic-wise or anything, what is the impact? And then you should check the logs and see if the issue is described well in the logs. If not, open a ticket to dev to fix their logs to be more verbose. And then once, you can't escape it. You have to know system flow, because even if you check the logs, you checked the first section of the chain, everything looks okay in the logs. Then how do you know what else to check? You need to know what is the next part in line in order to check the logs in this section. And then if you go part by part, then you know exactly where to find the issue. So having and familiar with the system flows is very, very important.
Yeah, I understand. Actually, I can plug a little promotion or recommendation of our platform. So we actually can help with incident investigation and with event management when you have a lot of events, a lot of alerts, and we create this concept called signals. It's pretty similar to this to the core sense of this concept. So you see signals from a bunch of noisy alerts, and you can understand, oh, here the issue, and which I understand how I can fix it, because I see what is impacting, how it's connecting on the dependency map. So you have the whole infrastructure on one topology graph, and you can understand what's going on, what's the problem, and etc. And yeah, I can just recommend to try our product. The link will be in the description of the video. So yeah, and I hope that Hila maybe also will try our product, or maybe give an opinion on it, and it will be really great. And back to our questions. I think it's my favorite question from all. How do you think the company's culture can impact the effectiveness of incident management in the teams?
So they need to understand that they need to allocate resources to fix, to make sure that production is stable, because a lot of, usually we see that a lot in startups. Well, since they are a startup, they want to be viable, right? And they want to show that they are needed. So deliver. We need to deliver more. We need to show that we are useful, blah, blah, blah. And then things happen in production, and nobody's dealing with that because we are focusing on delivery.
Yeah.
So we need to understand delivery is very, very important, but who creates this delivery? People. And if we don't fix the issues in production, then our people will get burned out, and then there will be no people to create the delivery that you want. So people, whoever is responsible for task management, they need to understand that delivery is important, but also making the production environment stable is a priority as well.
Yeah, maybe have some examples besides this problem, people resources and burnout, maybe some other examples of company's culture which can affect like the effectiveness of incident management. And how to avoid this, like maybe bad examples to like good examples.
Yeah, so for example, if you come to a postmortem and you have good suggestions to make the process better, and people will shut you down, then you know that the culture is great because they don't really want to improve. Why are we doing postmortem? There are two aspects to, or not aspects, but state of minds of postmortems. It can be either blame or learn. So if you don't learn from it, then you're making it to blame someone. And we don't want that. We are all human beings. We're making mistakes. That's okay. So we need to learn from that and be better. And if I or anyone come with suggestions how to make it better, and the relevant people shut us down, then you know that the culture is not one that really wants to improve, but just doing things for protocol, and that's that.
Yeah, understood. So as you mentioned, for employees, it's like go find our company with better culture. But for companies, maybe I understand that it's like really huge question, but for companies leaders, maybe you have some recommendation how to change this cultural approach, like inside the company, if they want to change it. So what I again, I understand that's really huge one, but maybe you can recommend something for people who thinking, yeah, I think that company's culture, like in my company, is toxic, and I can like somehow impact it from like business leaders' position, for example.
So I believe that people change or make changes only when they feel things on their own.
Yeah.
So I suggest for the team leaders to join the on-call rotation and do and make, be hands-on on that, and they will experience how it is like to wake up 100 times in the middle of the night because there is a false positive alert that you don't give priority to people to fix because you want them to deliver something else. So the team leaders will join the on-call, they will see the pain that there's there, and then they will actually change it. So this is one suggestion. And also, if you see that the team leader says, no, I'm not going to change, I have too many meetings, you can join for 1 week or 2 weeks just to understand how it is, and it wouldn't affect you that much. So, and even if it would affect you, I believe it's super critical and super crucial to understand what your people are feeling. So if you have a lot of resistance for this suggestion, then it could also sometimes tell you something about it. So this is one thing I can suggest. Another thing is really just push to a lot of tasks I don't have anything else. It's just stabilizing the environment. If let's say you can't stable the environment because there is a very big bug that in order to fix that, they need to refactor the entire code, okay? All good. Create runbooks, create an auto remediation that maybe the patch is to restart the service, and you have nothing else to do, only to restart the service because of that bug. That's okay. Do the auto remediation to restart the service automatically and not have your people, be up in the middle of the night to restart if you don't really have anything else to do other than restart. So always think about your people, what they could do versus what they need to do, and then create the relevant tasks to address that. And then at least if there are issues, people wouldn't leave because they see the amount of effort that is being done from the team leaders and the company to help them. And then they will understand, okay, yeah, it's hard, but I will hang in there because I see that they are making an effort. So I think the most important thing about culture is making an effort, not just in pretense, but really make an effort. And then people, even if things wouldn't change, because sometimes things take time to change, at least the people will see the effort that is being done, and then it will help us, it will help them cope with it better.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Actually, I think it's really smart recommendation for leaders to like try by themselves to do so, because actually when you think, oh, it's like not too big problem to like wake up a couple of times a year maybe, but if it's like constant problem for people, it is really need to be understood by leaders as well. So after first call in the middle of the night, I think resources will be like created somehow. Yeah, thanks a lot for this answer. And as you mentioned, and as we can see in social media and in the conferences, what you actively contributing to the community. And it's actually also, I like this question a lot because I'm, as a community manager, really truly understand how it works and why it's important. But maybe you can share from your position why you think it's important, and how can the company's culture also help to give more back to the community, also from your experience?
Yeah. Okay. So why is it important to me? Because I value knowledge sharing. This is one of the values that are very important to me.
Yeah.
So if I have knowledge to share, then I can be helpful to others. Then I want to do it. And also, I really highly value collaboration. And I believe that we shouldn't be lone wolves. We should help each other. This is like the essence of a community. So I'm basically doing my part in that, because I can't say I care about X and not really do stuff to prove that, or not even prove, but to live by that, right? And what companies can do in order to give back to the community is to, for example, encourage their employees to give talks at conferences, because it is a means of knowledge sharing. They can sponsor conferences and thus reaching out to the community directly. They can also have open source contribution days on, during the time at work. They can dedicate some time to have open source contribution. And I can also share my story. As I mentioned, I manage several programs in a technical, in a community for technical women in tech.
Mhm.
And just yesterday, we had a conference of Google Cloud, and there were community booth as well present. So we had a booth for our community. It's called Ba'ot. Like Ba'ot is a Hebrew word for come to, because out is come to meetups. We wanted people, and we wanted other women to come to meetups with and not be alone. So
Mhm.
we have for our community. And then I asked my team leader, can I go and spend the entire day in the conference to represent the community there? And he just said yes. No questions asked, no, wait, but what about X? Just said yes, because he understands the value of it. He understands
Yeah.
that both empowering women and is important, but also a community work is important. So just what he just agreed. So that's why I really love Wix, and I have amazing team leader. So
Yeah.
so that's about that. And basically, if they are supported in these kind of things that I just mentioned, then they could really be more integrated in the community by showing this support. And of course, if we talk about open source, they can also sponsor projects and stuff like that.
Yeah. Actually, it is great answer, because I think sometimes companies don't understand how to support people who would like to contribute to the community, and it can be like transformed in like, okay, you can talk about the company on the conferences, so it's like different angle, like totally different vibe of this activity. And it is great that weeks have like this approach, this culture, and really happy for you, like that you can like also work on your project, talk on the conferences, and as well support the local community you organized and like providing support to it. So it is great. And actually, I need to mention that we have like really several minutes to the ending of our conversation, and it is last chance for our attendees to ask any questions in the comment section. So be brave, ask something, because actually I almost, as I said, running off my like questions, and yeah, I need your help. And I think the last question from my side. It's about open source. Actually, you mentioned right now that you also supporting open source as a concept, and I'm really curious why it is important to you, and maybe you have some reasons behind it as well.
Sure. So I love open source because I believe that there are great solutions out there for a great lot of pains that we feel in our day-to-day, because the people creating those projects they created out of this pain and necessity. And also the aspect of community is present here, because both in contribution aspect, but also as an ecosystem. So community is very present in the open source realm. And
Yeah.
in terms of ecosystem, so if users are using it, and then there will be more use cases that will be supportive, and then the project will be more robust and more suitable and mature to use. And then I can use it at work, I can do a lot of things with it. And the people that created these projects will see that it created out of their pain, but people are using it. So they will have also the satisfaction of, hey, I'm helping someone, right? So,
yeah.
I believe, open source is awesome.
Yeah. But how about like other sides? So it's like from contributing side, and it is great. But sometimes when I'm talking to some also business leaders in companies, they mention that open source is not so safe, maybe, or so reliable in some ways. So it's like it can be like broken, maybe, or malicious in some like cases. What do you think, and what you can answer to these people who like thinking in open source, like in that perspective?
So, I don't know how it is in other countries, but in Israel, we see a lot of emerging products of open source, like supply chain security and projects, to make sure that the supply chain doesn't break because of malicious code or because something bad happened. So there are tools to deal with that, but also, I have an entire talk about that, and we can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think our attendees need to like we can add the link to this talk to our description as well, and like send it to everybody who registered to this event. And yeah, just in a couple of words, maybe you can describe your opinion.
So in regards to if something is broken or malicious code was entered, so if we choose the right open source project, and when I say right, I mean the one that is the most mature out of the options available, and the most popular and the most active, then you can assume that these kind of things wouldn't happen, because it is very tightly monitored, very tightly, people are really active on it, making sure that everything is okay. PRs are always a part of contributing code. So people that care about this project, and it is a robust project that a lot of users are using it. It is, you can also refer to it as production in some manner. So the possibility that it will happen gets smaller because of that. Of course, there are issues like what happened with the colors NPM package, where the maintainer added a loop in the code, and then it caused a lot of issues for a lot of companies. And Faker.js, that the maintainer, if I'm not mistaken, had a bankruptcy, so we deleted the project entirely. So what you can do about it is just put version in the requirements 60 for Python, and package it unlock, and then you will avoid that, because it's not like let's say managed services in the cloud where the update is rolling rolling update and then just get it. You don't just get it in open source. If you use the latest tag, you will get it, but you never use latest tags for nothing. So always use a hard-coded value of the version, and then you wouldn't experience that. And if you really need something more robust, then there are supply chain solutions that could help you.
Thanks a lot. Actually, I think I will use your argumentation in this conversation with these people who think that it's like something bad. So now I really have these arguments. And we have a question about at what point should an incident be escalated?
Depends on the incident severity. So if it's a very small one, it doesn't really affect something, then I can go on and on troubleshooting it on my ease of, I can just relax and do it, and it's a low incident, then no need to escalate even, because it doesn't affect anyone. If it affects a lot of people or a lot of users, then we should probably first escalate it as soon as possible to make sure that users are aware that there is an issue and we are on top of it, because you don't want to make the users feel like, hey, do they know there is an issue? Are they fixing it? I don't know what's going on. They are in uncertainty, so they need to know that we are on top of it. So if it is a critical issue, just escalate it as soon as possible, and then progress towards the actual root cause and resolution. and then, like in parallel to that, whether it is very critical or medium or minor, if you have no leads, then you need to escalate, because you need to eventually fix this issue and not leave the incident for the next on-call person, right? So try to find help that will help you fix the issue, and then once you know what to do, write a runbook about that.
Yeah, nice. Actually, it is really nice structured points of how to process all this, the whole process. We have one more question. I think it will be last, but just in case we'll have something interesting here in comments, just let us know if you have any questions, actually. And our question is about how to start in incident management.
What do you mean start?
I think that it's about how to switch to incident management team, or how to be involved in incident management, something about that.
So if your team is doing things that needs to be handled and you need to alert, then you need to make sure that your systems are monitored. And then based on that, you know exactly, based on the application of the systems, you know what needs to be alerted on. So if you know that if X happens, then it could affect Y, then you create alert about that. And then once something happens, you will fix that. So if there is, let's say, I don't know in which company it happens, but let's say there are no alerts, okay? It's a very brand new system. This could happen. If you create a new system, you need to map the weaker areas. You need to understand what, if something breaks, what you should be alerted on. Create these alerts based on the monitoring system that you have. If you have a Grafana or anything else, or Datadog or whatever, create alerts. And then based on the application that you have, OpsGenie or PagerDuty or whatever, you can define which alerts goes to which team. You can divide the alerts. And then incident management will start automatically, because you have alerts defined. Once they are fired, they will get to the right team, and then you will get paged, and everything that I just mentioned throughout this talk.
Yeah, actually, I think that it maybe was a question about switching to the whole area, maybe, but I'm not sure. So yeah, I think that if you approve, we can share your contact in LinkedIn to our attendees, so maybe they will have answers to their questions if they haven't time to ask them.
Yeah, I will bring up a slide with my contact details. Just a sec.
Oh yeah,
just with the QR code. So just a sec.
Oh, just a sec. Yeah.
Usually it's just like a link, but now I created a QR code because I'm
Oh, great. Yeah. Let's
trying.
share it.
Yeah. So just a sec. I'm opening it up. PowerPoint takes time.
Yeah, it's okay. Maybe some questions will pop up. Yeah, it is. Yes.
Where is it? Where is my QR code? Oh my God, it didn't save it. Ah, okay.
Okay, we will send the QR, and we can also.
We have. Wait. We can do this. We can do this. You can share my screen now.
Yep.
Yeah, and then just without QR codes, just so you have email here.
Old-fashioned contacts. So yeah, you can
LinkedIn.
email QR.
It's like you know what? Just a sec. Let's be old school like this. Prepare for that. Because it's like this. It's Hila-Fish. This is how you'll find me in LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is like this. Twitter is a handle HilaFish1, and then this is my email.
Yeah, and we'll like hold it for a couple seconds so everybody can like screenshot, and yeah. Just in case, I mentioned that we'll send materials to all people who register to this event. So we will include the videos where Hila giving the whole talks about incident management and open source, because it is really great talks. And also we'll include link to Hila's LinkedIn and these contacts as well. And just in case you have any questions to Hila, I think she would be so kind to answer it also as well after this talk. Maybe not like immediately, but maybe in some like spare time.
Yeah, I did it like this. Wow, I'm swinging it.
Yeah, it's an iteration of slides.
I like on the spot. Okay, now it's big, now it's good, now it's visible.
Okay, thanks a lot. And I think we'll be wrapping up our conversation. And thanks a lot, Hila, for being our guest today. And thanks a lot for your smart suggestions to business leaders and for like incident management teams, because I think that sometimes people just need to hear like fresh perspective from our professional, and you totally gave it today. And thanks a lot for that.
It's not only that, it's not only being experienced, it's sometimes you need to step back and because when you're in too deep, then you can't see things clearly. And then when you hear from something on the side, then it makes you think of things differently. So it's not only experience. I mean, of course it is, but not only, also taking a step back and looking on it from a fresh perspective.
Yeah, and thanks a lot for that, because I think that sometimes people just need some smart and fresh look on something they like doing daily and just struggling with it, because actually these things about on-call and about like root cause analysis and about, I don't know, like lacking of resources, it's something that that really so many people in the area experiencing daily. It's like really, I think, exhausting for all these people who are struggling with these problems. And like this couple thoughts, even that couple thoughts you mentioned, it is really fresh perspective for people who like struggling with all this. So thanks a lot again, and I will be happy to invite you to our next events. And thanks a lot to our attendees who have been with us. And for people who are watching this video, please leave comments to this video, like it and share it. And thanks a lot.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you, and see you at the next event. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.